Everyone, I'm Frank Malachode. Welcome to the Huddle, the NFC West Huddle. We've got West again this weekend. Seattle's going down to L.A. for what should be an epic showdown. The top two teams in the conference, and the 49ers on their way to the desert to take on the 3-6 Cardinals. Let's meet the cast of characters here. Out of the desert in the Valley of the Sun, it is Robbie Baker. Up in the great Northwest, we say hello to our friend Ethan McReynolds, and still glowing in the aftermath of the LA Dodgers boo, we say hi to Gerard Montgomery. Good to have you guys. You ready to talk a little football?
Let's do it.
All righty. Let's start in the desert, and with you, Robbie. Valley of the Sun, still rooting on your Cards. Let me ask you this. If you could change one area of your team right now to improve it for a long playoff run, what would it be?
Well, let's just address the elephant in the room right now. The Cardinals are not going on a long playoff run here at this point of where they are in the standings in the season. But if there was one area for improvement, it would just have to be health. This team has been just decimated by injuries. I mean, Ethan, you guys saw it up in Seattle last week. It felt like every play, the Cardinals went into that game banged up, and then every play, it felt like they lost another player and lost another player. And then the beginning of this week, we show up at the facility and find out Marvin Harrison Jr. is out after having to get his appendix removed. It's just every week, it just seems like another haymaker on the injury front. And it's not necessarily an excuse for the way this season has gone, because earlier in the year when they lost to teams like the Tennessee Titans, that was a much healthier team at that point. But that's also what has compounded the errors from earlier in the season. Is now they've got, and later in the calendar, and the margin for error has continued to shrink, and the injury list has continued to mount. So health has just been probably the biggest thing. If I could turn back the tables of time and fix one thing for this Cardinals team, it would just make them all healthy.
Yeah, and by the way, put Marvin Harrison Jr. on that list now, too, after his appendix bursted. All right, let's move on. Great Northwest. Ethan, where do the Seattle Seahawks need improvement?
Yeah, Frank, well, the Seahawks are arguably the most balanced team in the league, the only team in the league that is top 5 in DVOA in all offense, defense, and special teams, getting it done in all three phases. But one big facet of their game is absolutely missing, and it's the run game. The Hawks are averaging just 3.8 yards per carry, good for 29th in the league through their 9 games. And so far, the passing game has been so good that they've been able to skate by without an effective ground game. But we've seen it cause problems throughout the season, particularly in closing games out in the fourth quarter. The Hawks were up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter against the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. Robbie, I know you remember that. The Hawks allowed them to come back and tie that game up late, required some late game heroics from Sam Darnold and Jason Meyer. And similar story on Monday Night Football against the Texans. The Seahawks were up 2 scores and absolutely dominating until the fourth quarter, where an inability to move the chains while running the ball gave Houston multiple opportunities to get back into the game, and it ends up being a 1-possession win. So last week against the Cardinals, though, we did see a lot of positive signs. The Hawks ran the ball 46 times for just under 200 yards. And if you take away the kneel downs at the end of the first half and the end of the second half, you get 200 yards rushing right there. They only had to throw the ball 12 times. They really turned it on in the second half of that ground game. But it's one thing to do it in a game that's already decided, and another to do it against a playoff team in a 1-score game, as I foresee the Seahawks-Ram game to be this upcoming Sunday. So there's some positive momentum coming out of that Cardinals win with that run game, but I'm looking to see if they can do it for a second straight week against a much better Rams defense on the road, because they're going to need that run game come playoff time.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Ethan, after watching the 49ers play the Rams, you're going to need all the luck you can. Yeah. That team is good. Gerard, is there any weakness on this Rams team right now?
Frank, it's all about staying healthy. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I think the Rams and their fans have felt this way the entire year. Right now, Devontae Adams, who left that game in the win over the 49ers with an oblique late in the fourth quarter, Sean McVay said he could have come back if the Rams needed him, but he did not return. He did not practice Wednesday. He was limited Thursday. We'll see what happens on Friday. Sean McVay still believes he's going to play against the Seahawks at SoFi Stadium on Sunday. You know, he leads the league in touchdown catches with 9. So as I'm saying, the key to the Rams in a long playoff run is purely the health. They're right where they want to be right now. They're 7-2. I think a lot of people would say they should be 9-0. They shouldn't have lost the game to the Eagles. They were leading big and had a couple kicks blocked. They probably shouldn't have lost to the 49ers the first time. Kyron Williams fumbled on the 1-yard line with a little over a minute left in the game. Right now, they are 5th in offense, 2nd in passing, 4th in scoring on the defensive side, +7 in the turnover ratio, and 2nd in points allowed. So the one weakness they've had, the kicking game, they brought on Harrison Mevis. The kicking game was fine in their win against the 49ers. So I think the biggest thing for the Rams is staying healthy. Keep the course. Keep playing team football. That's what they do. Stay healthy is the key, Frank.
Yeah, take care of that quarterback, too. He's 37, and he had quite a workout up here with 4 touchdowns. Talking Niners now, I think the theme is there. You got to stay healthy, and this team has been decimated by injuries. They lost Bosa in, the Cardinal game, week 2 or 3 there. Lost Warner a couple of weeks later, and, of course, they haven't had Brock Purdy for 6 straight games. He, by the way, is coming back. So is Ricky Pearsall, so that is good news. I think since Bosa has left, quarterbacks have been kind of having their way. Stafford had, 4 touchdowns, nearly 300 yards passing. Houston took him to town as well. C.J. Stroud, 318 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. That's their last 2 losses. So I think they need an edge rusher. They need to bring in some guy that's Bosa-like. I don't see that coming, but if I had a Christmas wish list, that's exactly where I would put my hopes and desires. All right, that's the first quarter here. We're going to take a short break here on the Huddle. More football chatter right after the break. Stay right there. Welcome back to the Huddle, NFC West Huddle. Say hello to our guys. Got Robbie in Arizona, Ethan in Seattle, Gerard in L.A. And we are talking about our next question, which is, it's week 11. We've got 7 weeks yet to go, so we're past that halfway mark. Is your team better than the prognosticators said, or maybe not good enough? And we'll kick it off in Seattle with you, Ethan.
Yeah, Frank, I was much higher on the Seahawks than everyone was on this show. We go back to those preseason shows that we were doing, and also around the national media, the Seahawks with the longest odds preseason to win the NFC West. But I wasn't this high on them. They are absolutely better than I expected them to be, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. I saw this team as one that would get carried by a dominant defense while doing just enough on offense to win some close games, compete for the division title, and at the minimum, and most likely be a wild card team. Well, this offense has shown that it is one of the most explosive units in the entire league, led by Sam Darnold, who's been kept upright by his offensive line, and Jackson Smith-Njigba, who can run. He can do anything you want him to do, that you want a receiver to do, and Sam Darnold that can make every throw. And then you combine that with a defense that has been nothing short of elite, starting with their defensive front and being able to consistently generate pressure with their 4-man rush. Before the season, I thought the ceiling for this team was winning a division title and maybe a playoff game. Their ceiling now, obviously much higher than that. I can absolutely see them lifting the Lombardi Trophy in early February, something I was not expecting to be saying on this show in the offseason. There, I said it, Frank. There you go. Lombardi Trophy in Seattle. Absolutely a possibility. Let's start talking about it.
All right, well, you know where the Super Bowl is, by the way. You're going to have to come down here, and you also got a Week 18 matchup with the 49ers. I think it might come down to that, but we shall see. All right, Gerard, my goodness, your Rams looked awfully good last week. Big matchup this week. Did the prognosticators get it right? Was this a Super Bowl team or somewhere in the middle?
I think everyone sitting here talking about the NFC West expected this Rams team to be really good. They're 7-2, and like I said earlier in the show, they probably should be 9-0. I'm kind of glad they're not. If you're rooting for the Rams to make the long run, you never want to be undefeated. You got to drop a game. You got to stay humble. But they should have beat the 49ers. I'm going to say it again, and they probably should have beat the Eagles. I think they're right where they are, but we all know it's all predicated on Matthew Stafford's health. And at the beginning of the year, that was the big question mark. Was his back okay? He obviously did not play in the preseason. He was ready to go with the lower back issue, and it has not been a problem. Sean McVay is a genius, of course. He rolls them out. They run a lot of quick looks. They get the ball out of his hands fast. He was sacked once against the 49ers, and that's kind of been the case all season long. they have protected him, but they also protect him with the scheme that they run offensively. So as long as his back is good, the Rams are good. They brought in Davante Adams. He has been a gem. He's fit right in with Puka Nacua. They arguably could make the case they are the best wide receiver tandem in the entire league. They do have some big games coming up, starting on Sunday against Seattle. They've got Detroit here. So there is a ways to go. But, they brought almost the entire team back. And I think they are right where we thought they would be. We'll see. You need a little bit of luck. Got to stay injury-free if you're going to make that run all the way into February and play for the Lombardi. But it's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I would say so. That train is moving along nicely. Robbie, we'll get to you in a moment. Let's talk 49ers here. All I can say is I'm pretty amazed that this team is 6-4 with all the injuries they've had. Two future Hall of Famers in Bosa and Warner, both out of the game right now. They lost their first-round draft pick in Micah Williams. He got hurt a couple of weeks ago with a knee. He's done for the season, but they're still in the thick of things and right behind 3-1 in the division. I think everyone thought they had a playoff team. Oh, and by the way, they didn't have their quarterback for the last 6 weeks. We've had Mac Jones for 8 weeks. He goes 5-3. So I think we're pretty happy where they are right now at 6-4. They've got a pretty easy schedule coming out. The Cardinal game should be interesting this weekend. But and a big thank you to Robert Saleh. If it weren't for him, I'm not sure this defense would have held up at all. So at 6-4, I think we're where we should be. All right, Robbie, in Arizona, 3-6. What says you?
Yeah, I don't mean to correct you there. I don't think that Cardinal-49er game is going to be very interesting on Sunday. The 49ers should probably end up winning that game pretty handily considering the situation the Cardinals are in. Look, coming into this year, this was year 3 of the rebuild with Monty Ossenfort, the general manager, and head coach Jonathan Gannon. This was the prove-it year, kind of the make-or-break situation for Kyler Murray. When the schedule was released, we all looked at it and thought, okay, there is a path to get to the bye week, maybe at 6-2, 5-3. You make some headway early, and you can kind of see what happens in the second half of the year. The wheels have completely fallen off this thing here in the desert. Obviously, the whole situation with Kyler Murray on injured reserve now. Has he played his last down in Arizona? Maybe, probably. It's kind of hard to really get a sense of where that situation is. The offensive line, despite the talent being there, a change of position coach, that position group has kind of been a mess. And then we've already talked about the injury issues this year. The defense has held up moderately well, but again, they've been banged up at various levels at various times. Probably one of the best players on the team has been the ageless wonder, Calais Campbell, and that is a compliment to what Calais Campbell has been able to accomplish this season. But going into this year for the Cardinals, if I told you, hey, Calais Campbell is probably going to be the best player on the team, I'm not sure if the Bird Gang would have felt great about that, because going into the season, Calais even said he was kind of going to be on a pitch count, play certain situations, try to make an impact as much as he could. This thing has just gone sideways incredibly fast on the Cardinals here, and obviously, to answer your question, things have not gone as well as people had projected, because people thought the Cardinals could maybe win the division, go and win a playoff game preseason. That's not happening. This team is much closer to another rebuild, another overhaul of coaching staff and things of that nature than they are going to the playoffs right now.
Gee, Robbie, I was just trying to be polite, saying it would be interesting. It's a 2.5-point game. I like the Niners big in this one, but just as your host, just trying to be polite. All right. We got more Huddle coming up right after the break, so stay right there. Welcome back to the NFC West Huddle. Frank Malakoch, your host. We've got Ethan up in Seattle, Gerard down in Southern California, and in the desert, it is Robbie. There we go. New guy here is the host. All right, Gerard, you're out of the gate first. Stack up the NFC West. How do you think it's going to finish? 1, 2, 3, 4, and how many teams do you think will actually make the playoffs out of the NFC West?
Let's go Rams, Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals. That's how the division's going to finish up. The Rams and Seahawks will make the playoffs. I don't think the 49ers are going to get there, because I think the rest, they have to win a wild card spot. And even though they have the easiest schedule, if you look at the division right now, There's a lot of teams that are going to be fighting the 49ers. They might need to win out to get in there. We'll see. We'll see. I see the Rams at best finishing 7-1, at worst 5-3. That would make them 14-3 overall if they win 7-1, and 12-5 if they went 5-3. They've got 3 tough games left. This game Sunday is probably going to determine for sure the front runner in the division between the Rams and Seahawks. They still have Detroit coming into SoFi, which is a much better situation than having to go to Ford Field. And then they have the toughest game, which will be they've got to go up to Seattle and play the Seahawks up there. So this game is pivotal for the Rams in terms of winning the division on Sunday. And they're coming in a 3.5-point favorite. They're rolling right now, playing great football. Everyone's healthy, except for Akilla Weatherspoon, who they lost early in the year. That's been a non-factor. So right now, I like their chances, Frank, and the rest of you guys, to winning the division. I'm sure Ethan's going to have a little something to say about this, though.
Yeah, he probably will. Well, let's go to Ethan. I was going to go to Robbie, but point counterpoint. Who do you like 1, 2, 3, 4 up in Seattle?
Yeah, Gerard, obviously, I got to disagree with you. Because Robbie's waving the white flag over there in Phoenix, I'll put the Cardinals at 4. The Niners, I'm going to put at 3. I think they have a good chance of making the playoffs. I like the Bears to sort of fall off. I think the Niners could squeak into that wild card with Brock Purdy returning this week. And yeah, I'm going Rams at 2, and I have the Seahawks winning the division. It's going to be an absolute dogfight this week, but I think the Seahawks stack up really well against this Rams team. And look, even if the Rams take care of business at home on Sunday, I don't think they'll be able to win both matchups. Plus, the Rams have a much harder schedule. Gerard, you mentioned they still have to play Detroit. And Gerard, you didn't mention you guys still have to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week, I believe. That is a very good football team. So, 2 top teams in the NFC who I think both of those guys are both legit Super Bowl contenders. The only team in that category on the Seahawks schedule is the Indianapolis Colts. And who knows how that defense is going to affect Daniel Jones, getting him off his spot. They get the Colts at Lumen Field. So they also end the season with the Niners, but who knows how healthy they'll be to end the season. Frank, you mentioned already without Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. I think the Seahawks win the division, even if they can't upset the Rams this weekend on the road. I like the Seahawks just because of the schedule.
Okay, and Robbie down in Arizona, 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's number 4, Robbie? I think we already know.
This whole thing was just a long con, guys. The Cardinals are coming back, and they're winning the division. No, of course not. No, they're finishing last. The Cardinals are absolutely finishing last. I got to agree with Ethan. I think it'll be the Seahawks in first and the Rams in second in the division pecking order, but I think it's going to be very narrow. In terms of making the playoffs, the 49ers, it's just if Brock Purdy comes back this weekend and he looks like Brock Purdy, you guys start to get healthy out there in the Bay Area. It's hard to count out a Kyle Shanahan team when it comes down to crunch time. So I think there is a path, certainly, for 3 teams from this division making it to the postseason. But not the Cardinals.
All right, well, I hear you. I see that white flag behind you. I got to go with number 4. It's got to be the Cardinals. Nice con job down there in Phoenix. I think it's going to come down to that last game of the year. I think the Rams win this weekend. I know both teams are on a roll. They both have won 4 straight. LA looked just tremendous against the 49ers last week and Levi. But I like Seattle. I think they're going to look good as well. However, last game of the year, 49ers have that last place schedule. They got the Cards, the Panthers, the Browns, and the Titans. They do play Chicago as well, Indy and Seattle. So they can have a nice little run there, see what they do against Indy, and get into Seattle with a shot to make the playoffs. I think all bets are off. So I'm going to go with the Rams, number 1. I'm going to go number 2, the 49ers. I'm going to go Seattle, tied but very close at number 3. I think all 3 make the playoffs, and the Cardinals look forward to draft day next year. So we'll see how that all goes. All right, final question, and let's start with you, Ethan. We'll throw it up your way. You can pluck a player off any NFL team and put him right to work for the Seahawks this weekend against the Rams. Who would that be?
Yeah, I'm going down to the desert. I'm going to keep it in the division, Robbie. I'm going to say Budda Baker. He's the hometown kid. He started Bellevue High School, very close to Seattle, and then he led the University of Washington to their first college football playoff appearance in 2016. He plays with such fire and passion. Robbie, I know you know this. those characters, I've just always wanted the Hawks to try and swing a trade for him. I love watching how fast he plays, and he seems like the exact type of leader any team would love to have in their locker room. I loved seeing more of his personality, how he carries himself off the field on Hard Knocks a couple years ago, and he backs it up on the field. A true warrior, someone guys look up to, and an X factor on the back end of the defense. I would absolutely love to have him playing for my team instead of having to play against him twice a year.
All right, we've got 2 minutes to go, guys. Gerard, I don't think the Rams need any help, but if you could pluck a player, who would that be?
I'm going to cheat, Frank. It'd be Aaron Donald. Get him out of retirement. He looks fantastic. I interviewed him earlier this year. There's no way he's coming out, but he was on the sidelines of the USC Northwestern game last week. He looked great. He would command double teams in that Rams front 4 on defense, and they already get to the quarterback without double teams, without help. So it would be Aaron Donald. He would make the Rams invincible if he came out of retirement.
Yeah, that would make that front line pretty nasty, that's for sure. And I'm here to tell you they're pretty good. All right, Robbie, who are you plucking?
Yeah, I'll keep this quick, and I'll kind of cheat a little as well. I would rather switch coaches a little bit here, reverse the clock a little bit. Can we switch out Sean Payton for Jonathan Gannon, if I could pluck someone here? I remember being outside the facility a couple years ago when Sean Payton was here interviewing, and we were like TMZ style, trying to track him down, get a soundbite. If only Sean Payton would have chose the Cardinals over the Broncos, what could have been?
You know, I was going to suggest a coaching change, so there you go. I'm going to go with an edge rusher. We've been talking about it all show. I'll go with Myles Garrett, bring him in. I think he's averaged 14 sacks the last 4 years per year, and a guy like that would make this defense hum. All right, that's a wrap, guys. Robbie, Ethan, Gerard, it's been a pleasure. Good luck this weekend, West on West. We'll see where it all falls out. Have a great football week and enjoy your Sunday, guys. Thank you very much.